It was supposed to be a routine morning for David, a seasoned marine biologist conducting dolphin research off the coast of Mozambique. The ocean was calm, the sun had just begun rising over the horizon, and his small crew was preparing for a day of data collection when something strange appeared on the water's surface in the distance. At first it looked like driftwood, then maybe a seal, but as it drew closer, the shape became unmistakable golden fur, powerful shoulders, piercing amber eyes. It was a lioness. Alone, lone, swimming in the middle of the ocean. Everyone froze. Lions don't belong in the sea, especially not miles from shore. Cameras dropped. Conversations stopped. The entire crew just stared, trying to comprehend what they were seeing. David raised his binoculars and felt his breath catch. She wasn't just swimming, she was fighting for her life. Each stroke was slower than the last, her head bobbing dangerously close to the waves, her breath sharp and panicked. She was exhausted, clearly on the brink of drowning, yet still pushing forward with a strength that defied explanation. David knew he couldn't just stand there and watch. Every instinct in him as a scientist, a human being, screamed that something had to be done. But how do you rescue a lioness? A predator? A wild animal with the power to kill? There was no protocol, no playbook. But he saw something in her eyes, not aggression, not fear, but a desperate plea for help. He instructed his team to lower the rescue net they typically used for injured sea turtles and cautiously maneuvered the boat closer. As they approached, the lioness didn't flee or lash out. She simply looked up, exhausted, and allowed herself to be lifted from the water. She collapsed on the deck, drenched, shivering, her powerful body barely moving. There was no growl, no roar, just silence and heavy breathing. That was the moment everything changed. Over the next 72 hours, David and his team transformed their research boat into a makeshift rescue station. They named her Nala. No one slept much. She was given water, raw fish, and space, lots of space. They kept a cautious distance, ready to retreat at the first sign of aggression, but it never came. Instead, Nala simply rested, occasionally glancing at David with quiet awareness, as if she somehow understood who had pulled her from the brink. The world quickly learned about her through viral photos and news stories, and while theories about her origin exploded online, some suggesting she escaped a flooded island zoo, others claiming she was dumped by illegal wildlife traffickers trying to evade authorities, no one had solid answers. What was certain was this: she had swum nearly 20 kilometers through open ocean, against tides and nature itself, to survive. But why? How? The mystery only deepened the emotional grip her story had on people around the globe. David, meanwhile, was becoming deeply attached. He spoke to her softly during long nights, sharing his thoughts, his fears, his awe. There was one evening where she slowly walked toward him, lay down just meters away, and rested her head on her paws, eyes meeting his. It was the closest thing to a thank you he'd ever received from a wild animal. For a man who'd spent his life studying sea creatures, that moment felt like something divine. But David knew he couldn't keep her. Nala was not meant for captivity on a boat or a lab. She needed land, freedom, and safety. After dozens of calls, a renowned wildlife sanctuary stepped forward. They had space, experience, and a team capable of rehabilitating large cats. When the transport team arrived, they came with tranquilizers and cages, prepared for chaos. But Nala surprised everyone. She walked into the transport crate with quiet dignity, pausing only once to look back at David. It wasn't dramatic, it wasn't cinematic, but for David, it was everything. That one glance carried the weight of the entire ordeal: the swim, the rescue, the strange temporary bond between man and beast. At the sanctuary, Nala thrived. She was monitored, cared for, and slowly reintroduced to open grassland. She chased, she ate, she roared. But she never lost the calm presence that had stunned everyone on that boat. Months passed. David tried to move on, diving back into his research, but something had changed in him. It wasn't just the rescue. It was what it revealed about life, survival, and connection. Eventually, he made the trip to visit her. As he approached the enclosure, unsure if she'd even remember, Nala lifted her head from the grass and walked slowly to the fence. They stood there, man and lioness, separated by metal, united by memory.